Good afternoon and welcome to Blend. This afternoon we're going to walk you around the Blend E-Series. The E-Series comprises 4 different versions: the 15, the 25, the 50 and the 70. Let's have a look at the 50. All of the E-Series plants contain all of the material necessary to produce concrete on board, each kept separately and then mixed at the moment you actually need to produce concrete. So we have the water here at the front of the unit, then we have the sand and the gravel in 2 separate compartments, and at the rear we have the cement. So here we are at the front of the machine, and I've opened up all of the side panels so we can see what's inside a typical machine. Obviously each machine is composed according to what the customer needs and what he needs to do. So here we have the water tank at the front, 2,000 litres of water, and on board here we have the pump for the water. Here we have a liquid additive tank and pump and electronic flow meter. Each E-Series machine can manage up to 3 different liquid additives. Here we have the diesel tank for the onboard diesel engine, and this is the tank for hydraulic oil. So in this case we have a Yamaha engine. This one is 37 kilowatts. Hydraulic pumps from Eaton. And let's have a look inside where you can see the front of the diesel engine. As I said, 4-cylinder, 37 kilowatts Yamaha engine. So here we are in the shade on the other side of the machine. Here we have the control box. This contains the CPU and the electric circuit of the Blend plant. Each plant is equipped with vibrators, so we have vibrators on this side and on the other side. Normally they're only on the sand hopper. The automatic greasing system, which I recommend as an option for all the plants. And this particular plant is fitted with an emulsion kit for producing cold asphalt. Let's have a little closer look at this. So we'll start off from the emulsion tank. This tank contains 600 litres of bitumen emulsion or bitumen additive. The kit comprises the tank and the pump. Now the pump is a complete circuit, obviously, which has to pump the emulsion from here into the mixer. All Blend E-Series plants are controlled by an onboard CPU. Here we have the control panel itself. Now this is the new control panel, which has the added feature of having a Wi-Fi service, an aerial, which is connected here. So the antenna is here for the Wi-Fi. Now very simply, this gives different options. One of the options is that Blend technicians can intervene remotely on the machine should this be required. Another option, if the customer requires this, is that the system can dialogue directly with the customer's HQ. So the control panel obviously is connected directly to the control box. As I said before, here we have all of the electric circuit, the fuses, and the onboard CPU, which is inside here in this protected box, dustproof, waterproof, etc., etc. Here we have the receiver, because obviously the Blend plant comes with a remote control, a handheld remote control, and this is the receiver. And this is also included to charge the battery of the remote control. So when we're ready to produce, we go to the control panel, obviously turn on the engine, go into the production menu, select a recipe, and press start. At that point there, we're ready to go into production. This is when all of the materials, which are kept separately, are introduced by weight and by liquid dosing into the mixer according to the recipe and the quantities of each material specified in the recipe itself. So we have the cement from the silo via the screw is introduced into the mixer first. Then we have the water and the additive, which is mixed together with the water and is introduced. At this point, the cement and the water are mixing a paste, a kind of grout. After that, here we have the 2 hoppers and the 2 separate belts. The sand is introduced and mixed with the grout. At this point, you're making a mortar. As the mixer produces, you get to this point and the gravel comes in, the stones. So at this point, you're mixing the mortar with the stones, and so you have concrete. And here at the end of the mixer, you have the placing belt, and the concrete comes out onto the placing belt, and away it goes. So let's have a look inside the mixer. Obviously, one of the questions which people ask is, how easy is the mixer to wash? Well, let's have a look. So, to open the mixer, we need to remove this bolt, pull up this lever. Then we have two handles here, whereby we can open the mixer quite easily. At this point, you have ready access to the mixer. As you can see, it's a ribbon mixer. It turns very fast, approximately 300 RPM. So it mixes small quantities of the materials very quickly to get perfectly mixed concrete. Now, washing. Each machine is equipped with an onboard washing hose. As we saw before, we have the water pump. So the easy part, let's say, once the mixer's open, during the day and at the end of the day, here we can wash the mixer quite easily. The important thing to remember is before you start washing is to take a sponge ball and put it into the cement pipe, because there's nothing worse than cement getting mixed with water. So remember, close off the cement pipe with the sponge ball and then you can start washing. Obviously, this is a relatively easy thing to explain, but providing you do it every day, more than once a day, the mixer stays clean. And if it's clean, it's easy to clean the next day. At the same time, once you've cleaned the mixer, you also clean the placing belt. So once the recuperated asphalt, the wrap, has been taken back, it needs to be crushed. So once it's been crushed, it's piled up. This crushed material at the moment is still in different grain sizes, so it needs to be loaded into the screen, and the screen will then select the different grain sizes which will be used to be loaded into the blend and make fresh cold asphalt. So here we can see the screen, which is then selecting the grain size of the various components, the aggregates, which are going to be loaded back into the blend to produce cold asphalt. And that's what it looks like. So now the material has been crushed and screened in the various dimensions, as you can see here, the various piles. It's going to be loaded into the blend hoppers. Obviously, each hopper holds a different grain size, the same as you have for normal concrete. Cold asphalt is no different. Selected material is taken and loaded into the hopper so we can have a full machine and start production of some fresh cold asphalt. Each of the hoppers on this plant holds 15 cubic meters of material up to the water line. So here we are on top of the plant, now standing on the grids of one of the hoppers. Here we have the material which we've just loaded, as you can see. So in a moment, once the production starts, you'll actually see the material go down. So the vibrators on the side of the bins. Each of these bins is treated with a non-stick Teflon type material to make sure that the material flows smoothly onto the belt and then in towards the mixer. So here we have a better view inside one of the 4 aggregate bins. As you can see, the orange linings, these are non-stick linings which help particularly with the various difficult materials which our plants use to mix. The angle of the hoppers is quite steep, but these non-stick panels further assist the material to flow down onto the single belt under the hopper and then onto the main belt, feeding the materials directly into the mixer. See the material flowing down, you can hear the vibrators. Obviously the timing of the vibrators, both in length of vibrating time and interval between one vibration and the others, can all be programmed from the onboard computer. This is the onboard blend cement silo, which is on weigh cells, exactly the same as the 4 aggregate hoppers. Here we can see on this particular unit, the customer has 2 cement silos, the screws and the socks, which feed into 2 different places on the cement silo itself. The cement silo holds 4 cubic meters of cement, and at the bottom of the cement silo we have the unloading screws. Each silo has 2 unloading screws, which discharge the cement into the mixer. So, still on top of the plant itself, looking down at the placing belt, the discharge belt, here we can see the finished material, that is the cold asphalt once it's mixed, being loaded into the tipper track. As you know, the A240 has a variable speed, so realistically, in working conditions, the unloading speed can be anything from 20 to 70 cubic meters per hour. So here we are now down by the placing belt. The material's coming out of the mixer and directly onto the belt itself. Discharge belt has variable speed, therefore it can take away the materials at a different speed, and this is generally done according to the type of material that you're unloading. If it's very dry or very wet, you can change the speed of the belt. You can also change the angle of the belt. So the cold asphalt that the client has just produced He uses two different aggregates from two hoppers, so that's two different grain sizes. Both are RAP, that's recuperated asphalt. Then he uses 1% of water and 2% of emulsion. That means 17 litres of water and 34 litres of bitumen emulsion. And this gives him, or this is one of the recipes that he has for his cold asphalt mixes. The A240 blend plant comes in various sizes, various models, from a 2-hopper plant, a 3-hopper plant, and a 4-hopper plant. Here we have the largest of the blend A240 models, the A244 bin plant, also known as the A240 Quater. So the A240, as we said before, this is the A244 bin, known as the A240 Quater. So 4 hoppers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each hopper holds 15 cubic meters of material up to the waterline. So this part of the A240 is exactly the same as all of the other A240s that we've seen previously and that Brent currently produces. So we have the mixer, the placing belt, the hoppers. Here we have the CAT engine. This is a diesel engine machine. The control panel. This plant, like all the other plants, is a mobile plant, and therefore it's raised and lowered by the onboard pistons that we can see. And this particular plant has higher support legs. These are half a meter long. This permits the client to clean under the plant and make sure that everything is free and basically keeping his site clean. This also gives the added advantage that the plant is slightly higher than a normal plant. Therefore, the placing belt itself can be placed at a slightly lower angle when unloading into a tipper or even a truck mixer, and this gives you more freedom of movement as regards to the belt speed and the unloading speed. Moving along the plant, now the blend A240 is normally 13.5 meters long and it weighs 21 tons. The A240.4, A240 Quater, as we call it, has this extra unit, this extra separate unit, which can be an add-on. In this case, the customer took it at one single time, but it can also be added after. The beauty of this is it gives you the possibility to add 2 extra aggregates in a large quantity. So in the case of this particular plant, the main A240 body has 2 hoppers, each hopper holding 15 cubic meters. We also have a smaller A240, which is only 2 hoppers, which holds 10 cubic meters of material up to the waterline. This plant is more suited to larger production outputs and 4 different aggregates. So 2 hoppers here, and then 2 hoppers on the additional skid unit. Now, this particular skid unit doesn't have the hydraulic lifting pistons as you can see on the main plant, but if required, it can have the hydraulic lifting pistons so that no crane is required to unload it and to place it on the job site. In this area of the machine, obviously, is the command center. So we have the main control panel, which controls cement levels and basically the main parts of the plant. This is the blend control panel, which obviously stores all the recipes, up to 100 different recipes, which can be selected at any one time to produce a different material from what you were producing previously. On this particular machine, this is a machine with a CAT diesel engine, as we said before, 110 kilowatts, and this is the CAT control panel. The CAT engine has its complete circuit, and we adapt the CAT engine exactly as the manufacturer gives it to us. Here we are underneath the blend mixer, or more correctly, underneath the cement silo itself. As I said previously, the cement silo has 2 discharge points and 2 screws, which we can see here. So the 2 screws bring the cement into this discharge sock, which then unloads the cement directly into the mixer here. In the case of cold asphalt production, the bitumen emulsion is added at the end of the mixer, as we have found that this gives the best result regarding homogeneous mixing of the material. So this is the inlet here of the emulsion into the mixer. So the Blend E series, behind me we have a Blend 70, but it's a special Blend 70, and after you'll see why. It's a part of the E series, so if you imagine here would be the truck cab, here we have the water tank, 2,000 litres, here we have the aggregate bins, so sand and gravel, and then at the rear of the unit we have the cement silo. So this is a Blend E series 70.2, as you can see, and why is it 0.2? Well, the secret is in the mixer. As opposed to our normal single shaft ribbon mixer, this is a double shaft paddle mixer. So it's a much powerful version, and this allows us to mix a greater quantity of material and at the same time more difficult materials. For example, soil stabilization, where you have big lumps of material and maybe roots, which are difficult to mix with a standard Blend 70 ribbon mixer. Here we have a twin shaft paddle mixer which will do the job. So let's have a look inside this twin shaft mixer. As you can see, it's a twin shaft mixer with paddles, counter rotating. This allows for a good strong mix, but as I said earlier, it mixes by power and not by speed as the normal Blend ribbon mixer does. It's also equipped with the same type of rubber cover. This makes it easy to open, and which is very, very important for cleaning, because as you know, cleaning is the most important thing in any concrete machine. "70.2", because it's a more powerful mixer, requires a larger diesel engine to drive it. On board this one, as opposed to the normal 37 kilowatt engine which we mount on the standard 70 series, we have a 53 kilowatt stage 5 emission level diesel engine. Since the 70.2 twin shaft mixer has a much higher output than the standard ribbon mixer, we also need to actually upgrade the distribution belt, because we have a far greater quantity of material coming out of the mixer. In this case, we have a wider telescopic belt on this machine. As you can see, the telescopic belt opens to reach a final distance from the machine of 4.5 meters. This, coupled with a 155-degree slewing radius, gives you a great coverage to lay your material with ease without having to move the basic machine. So let's
mi dica le sue impressioni, mi dica le sue impressioni.
No, questo mezzo va proprio...
Porca madonna!
Proprio potente.
Vai, vai.
Mario, fammi vedere. Lasci te.
Perché è meglio stare sul sano. Vede l'operatore che c'è in mano il
Dato lo start, anche per partita, anche il tutto è già buono, non occorre fare a che velocità sta andando adesso? ricordi tu. ma non si